Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today, it's great to have John Martin here, somebody who's just been a really pioneer in music, created a song that really changed the world and changed a lot of people's lives, with Swedish House Mafia, and just somebody who's just really changed the landscape of modern day vocals on music. So it's definitely great to have you here, John. I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, did you always want to be, the singer, the songwriter? Was that always like your dream when you were a child, when you were a kid? How did this start in a sense?
Um, I think it started around when I was 12 or 13. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but Oliver Stone made a movie about the band The Doors. Um, so I watched that when I was 12, 13. Um, Now you disappeared again. Do you think that
It
is
was
going to
still
make a
just recorded.
difference?
Should just record it all.
Okay, okay, yeah. I'll just go on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like around that time I started to like like being started being interested in bands and like being like fascinated by lead singers, but I was still around that time I was too shy. I was more I thought I would be maybe a guitar player in a band. So I had a band as a teenager. We had a lead singer, but when the guy uh, quit the band, um, I got like convinced by the other guys in the band to take the mic. So that's how it started.
And when you were doing this band, John, like of course you had the aspiration to, make this like make it big in the space, etc. What did you think was your plan at the time to be able to do that? Were you just going to keep performing and then hopefully have a hit? Like what were you kind of thinking?
Um, I don't think I had a plan. It was just like it was more like writing, learning how to write songs together with the band, and then maybe like I don't know, maybe once a month you could like get a show somewhere, and then you had this show that you like rehearsed uh, before the show, and then you had like okay, let's finish these songs. They need to be finished before the show. So that I think that was always like recording an album. That was something like very very far away on the horizon. This was more like you know, how can we make a song that can like we can play in front of our friends, and how can we impress our friends and impress girls. I think that was how it started, like back in those days.
Yeah. And so how did you kind of like develop your own writing, writing style and writing process? Like was it just through trial and error and just kind of writing and figuring out what people like, what people don't like? Like how did you kind of carve out your own niche in that sense?
Oh, well, it's a tough question, but I think like being in like starting out in a band, and I played together with the drummer and the bass player from when I was 14 years old up until I was the year I turned 30. So together with them, I definitely spent my 10,000 hours in a rehearsal space, um, writing songs, recording songs, and like listening to the songs that we recorded and like, okay, shit, this really sucks. But there's like 1% of what I hear in this song that I like, and 1% of what I hear in my voice that I like. So I'm going to try to develop that. So that's what was the like the school for me. Um, and then yeah, and then after the band we broke up, and I met Michel Zitron, my longtime songwriting partner. And then a new journey started with songwriting together with with a guy that came from another like part of like he came from another part of town, and he had some his own influences. Um, and so then we started to develop, you know, the songwriting and that type of songs that we later did with Swedish House Mafia, with Martin Garrix and the EDM guys. Um,
How did this
yeah,
relationship
that's how
with
it started.
Michelle? How did the whole relationship with Michelle start? Like, did somebody introduce you? You kind of just, how did you meet him, and then like figure out that this was like the writing partner for you? Because you guys seem to be have written so many songs together.
Yeah, we had one friend in common, uh, and he told us like a couple of months before we met out at a nightclub. He said to me like, "Hey, you should get to get to know this guy, Michel. You should like get in the studio with him." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Around that time, I didn't really write with anyone else than my band. But I was also like starting to open up for like for collaborations because I felt like I was in a way a bit like stuck in the formula of like being in a band, and I started to go out to clubs in Stockholm where they played a lot of like electronic music, and I remember it gave me the same like excitement like rock gave me when I was a teenager. I was like hearing all these new sounds, and the energy that I felt was really inspiring. And I was also like, there was not really the vocals they had on on the songs were more like gospely, you know, women that were singing. So there was, you know, I was just sometimes I was just standing in the corner of the club and like singing over a like an instrumental track. Um, but yeah, your question, yeah, me and Michelle, yeah, we met at a nightclub, and we were both pretty drunk,
Yeah.
but we immediately felt some connection, like musically, but like a brotherhood connection. So we decided to meet up in his studio. Um, so yeah, the day after I started to call him, and it was kind of hard to get a hold of, but I didn't give up. And then like a month after we met up in his studio, and yeah, there it started, the beginning of a yeah songwriting uh, and friendship too.
So, I watched that you had this video on your Instagram about how, how basically the "Don't You Worry, Child," song kind of came about, and it seemed like you're working this, you had this job you were working at, you're kind of changing tires, etc., and you're writing on the weekends. How did that kind of like how did this whole the idea for the song come about, and how did you put it all together while you were doing all that?
Um, yeah, like you were saying, I worked at my dad's tire shop during the week. So, and usually on Fridays, me and Michelle had scheduled like after we closed down the tire shop, I went into the city and to his studio, and we went to like the liquor store and bought wine and beer, and then we was just like playing around. Like I was playing guitar, Michelle was playing keys, and we were singing. And with "Don't You Worry, Child," we had this. I had like a guitar riff. Actually, I have my guitar here, but I was walking around with for a couple of months. It's, sounding like this. It was like, yeah, yeah. Next time we meet up, we're gonna like write something to to that riff. And then yeah, then we had I remember we had a Sunday where we met up, and we were, yeah, I remember us probably being pretty hangover. But then we started to work on, putting up a loop, like a kick drum, and recording this riff. And then the song came, and like the melodies came out pretty quick, like during the day. And we had a vocal that sounded like with the melodies, but without no words. So we met up a week later, and just knocked out the lyrics over a couple of hours. So yeah, that's how it happened.
And why did you want to send the song to Swedish House Mafia? Like, why were you kind of thinking that they're a good route for it?
Hmm. I remember this is like 2010,
Yeah.
and just like maybe a month before they released one, and I didn't know about them. Michel knew about them, but that summer, one became a big hit, and we just felt like that sound appealed to us, and like what they did. And then we started to think like, how cool would it be uh, if they like released a song like this. But the months passed by, maybe 6 months or something, because we
Really?
wrote the song in like before the summer, and during the summer we were like walking around with the song, and we were playing the song for our friends, and everyone was like, "Wow, can you please send me that song you played? I need to hear it again." So we started to like this growing feeling that we had like something strong. But then it took up until December when Sebastian showed up in the same studio complex in Stockholm that our studio was. So we played a song for him, and then yeah, that's how everything started with them.
Yeah. And were you like kind of surprised as to how the song came out? Like once they got it, like was there a bunch of changes that you wanted to do? Like did you just like it initially? What were kind of your thoughts on their rendition of the song?
Uh, I mean, it took almost 2 years, yeah, 2012 until uh, they finished it and released it.
Really?
So I've been living with this version, our version, for 2 years, and our version was uh, it was much slower. It was like maybe 122 or BPM, but it was the same vocal, like so they just time stretched it up. I remember first time I heard it, it took me like maybe until the third time that I was like understanding, like, okay, wow, they really made something incredible with the production. But the first time I heard it, I just thought it was too fast.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah. And you kind of you seem to that collaboration with them, like you seem to like working with Swedish House Mafia. So when you also did the Save the World song, right? Was it like kind of a similar process with them, or was that like a much quicker process?
yeah, I mean, with Save the World, it was a different process because with that song, Seb had these chords, like these three piano chords: A minor, C, F. Um, so he just like after we played him "Don't You Worry, Child," he asked us to if me and Michelle wanted to write melodies and words for these chords. So that's how we started. We worked on it for yeah, it went pretty quick too. Maybe like, oh yeah, a day or two, like to get the melodies right. Yeah, so a bit of a different process.
Did you think that both them, John, like did you think that like Don't You Worry Child, did you think that was gonna be like a mega hit when it came out? Because you're like, okay, this really sounds good. My friends are telling me they like this song even before the Swedish House Mafia did their thing on it. Did you think it was just gonna be a big hit, or like what were you kind of expecting?
I I didn't expect it to like become as I mean by then I had no like references in having a hit because I came from the band thing and we didn't even release an album. But maybe I was like I was I had like a dream that like to have like a hit in Sweden, like a local
Hmm.
hit or something. But then of course when after Save the World was released a year earlier and that became a hit, then yeah, then maybe I started to like think about what Don't You Worry Child could actually how much that song could could resonate with people. Uh, but yeah, your question. No, I didn't expect it to become as big as it became.
So, John, why is it that dreams and the ability to go and get your own dream and this focus on more of a positive meaning and something that you should aspire to, why is that really included in your music rather than maybe just the focus on love, like so many songs focus on love or other maybe values that aren't as good? Why focus on getting your dream and having that be prioritized in your music and its deeper meaning?
Um, for me, I think I've looking back on my life, I think I've always been a dreamer. Like even when as a kid in school, and like the teacher was like, "Martin, you're, can you answer this question?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, what are we? I've always been a daydreamer, but dreams been a big part of my life, like from early on." And I tried like even at this age, I always try to find a new dream. That what keeps me going, and that what's like inspires me and uh, yeah, keeps me motivated. And I think it's very important for me as a creator and songwriter to take care of my body, but also my mind to be able to like think wider and look into the future.
Yeah, I think it's great that you do that because it also makes your music stand out and provides this deeper meaning to it. And I think it's something it's definitely a little bit different and seems to be very authentic to you. So it's definitely good. It's like that. But so you've done a bunch of other interesting collaborations. One of which was Fade into Darkness. How did that whole collaboration come about with Avicii? Like, how did that start, and what was kind of your thought process into making that song?
Fade into Darkness, Tim reached out to me and Michelle around the time Save the World was like getting attraction, and he sent us this penguin sample, the track, and just asked us if we were interested in writing melodies and the words for it. And I remember uh, around this time we like I learned the chords on guitar. So we were me and Michelle and another guy called Mons. We were hanging out, sitting in a couch, and I think both Michelle and yeah, he was having panic attacks uh, around this time. So like the words like became like a calming thing for him to like, okay, let's talk about panic attacks, and like
Hmm.
looking up, there's always sky, like these things you need to like to tell yourself when you're feeling like bad. Remind yourself that you're gonna be okay, you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna you can choose the light every day. um so yeah, that's how it happened.
Hmm. Right. So it was like a personal experience that you wanted to put into the music, essentially.
Yeah. Personal. I mean, for me, that was before I started to to having panic attacks, but Michelle had them, so we were like, yeah, talking about like how to calm him down, like, um, and yeah, and then yeah, think I recorded demo vocals, and then we decided to yeah, not have the vocals on the track, because during this time it was a different time. It was like more like uh, I was like worried to be like, yeah, I shouldn't be featuring on too many DJs, and now I regret it because I would, no, I really would want to like made to have a feature with Tim, but 2011 it wasn't like it was a different time.
Yeah, most definitely. So, based on like all the different music you've written, being around other artists, etc., would you say like there's specific things that go into making a successful song, or is it just kind of the right sound, the right lyrics, or are there kind of different aspects that are more like specific that really make something as a successful song overall?
If I had a formula, then I would use it, but I think it's just like go to the studio every day, and some days the window is going to be open. But it's just it's for us, for me and Michelle, in our songwriting, it's about putting in the hours and trying to catch that little magic moment when you sit around and play your instrument and you sing, and all of a sudden you stumble over some magic, and then you have this little piece of music, and then you can, okay, let's save this and let's build something around uh, this little thing we captured here. um, but I think like, yeah, for the thing for us has been like when it comes to dance music, that even if someone sends us a track, I don't want to hear the track like when we're about to write lyrics and vocal, like, yeah, melodies and lyrics for it. We usually uh, like break it down to like guitar, piano, and write melodies uh, that can like work like for like a, yeah, acoustic guitar, not being too dependent on the track, what's going on there. It's like if the song stands on its own legs for just like one guitar and piano, if the melodies are, good enough, then you know that you're onto something good.
Yeah, and John, just the last question that I have. Um, you've done a lot of different things in the space and in music and really written so many different types of songs too. Like, what do you aspire to do, with let's say the next couple of years, the next 10 years? Like, do you want to go more the solo route? Do you want to do the collaborations? Like, or is there something kind of different that you want to do that you haven't done yet? Like, what do you aspire to do next?
I'm working on a solo album, um, and that's more like where I'm coming from my roots. It's not dance music. It's more like pop rock. I would say it's like Simple Minds 2000 or 2024. So that's something that I want to like explore, and see where it can take me. Uh, but I also want to like find new collaborations in the dance world, and yeah, find new work with new people, and explore new like landscapes. So I'm really, yeah, I'm really excited right now.
Well, look, John, I appreciate you coming on. I think you've done some really amazing songs that have not only just been, that have been global, but have also, I think, had a great impact on people and people's lives with the positive meaning you've imbued in them. And so I'm excited to see what you'll do next, whether it's with the solo opportunity or other things that you'll do collaboration wise. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on here.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me.